everyone, it's really good to see you here all. So in today's video, we are going to talk about a very important topic, that is mastering DSA problem solving. So if you are solving any DSA problem and if you stuck often, then this video will be going to helpful for you in order to find out where the places you are doing mistake and what are the points you have to keep in mind while solving any DSA problem. So let's get started. Firstly, the very first thing to solve any problem is to understand the problem carefully. Most of the time it happens that if you are in an interview or if you are generally giving any coding contest, so in most of the time it happens that students generally assume something and based on their assumption, they solve the problem. But at the end, it happens that when it's time to pass all the test cases, what happens is that almost 50% or just 30% of the test case passed from that's approach. So you can see that the problem is behind actually understanding the problem carefully. Just don't directly jump into the problem and start solving it. Just try to firstly come up with the actual understanding of the question, what actually question is asking. And after that only start solving that question. So most of the student, almost 50% of the student do this mistake that they don't actually carefully read the problem and just start solving it by assuming something. So it's gonna be a very waste of time. So after solving it for 1 hour, you will at the end get to know that you are not actually understanding the problem. So it may often happen in the interview also that you are solving the question assuming something but it was not actually the question. So in an interview, you have some fixed or limited amount of time, right? And if you didn't practice this priorly, then it's going to be happen you often. So just understand the problem. And in an interview, if you want to know or clarify the question, just ask for it because any interviewer would be happy to help you in order to clear what the question is and what it is actually asking. So it's very simple thing and it's obvious, but most of the students do this. So just try to avoid this mistake. So this is the very first thing. Avoid not understanding the problem. Take your time, understand the problem and then only move to solve it. Moving ahead, so after you understand the problem, now what you have to do is you have to break the problem into pieces. Let's suppose if you have to do some question which required sorting, for instance, by sorting the problem, it's become easy for you to solve it further. So just break the problem. Firstly, you have to sort this vector or array or something. And after that, using that vector, you are going to do whatever the thing is required. So decomposing the problem into smaller sub-problem is a very efficient tool in order to solve any problem, whether it is hard, whether it is medium or whether it's easy. If it's easy, it didn't require to break it much, but for medium and difficult problem, it happened that if you start directly jumping to solution, then you are not going to get it. But if you start breaking the problem into sub-problem and solving each problem and after that combining each and everything into finally giving you solution, then obviously you are going to crack it. So you have to identify the key component and functionality of the question as well as the solution you are going to give. For each part, stay focused. Why are you doing that? Why are you sorting that? Why are you not sorting that? Why are you using hash map? Why are you counting the number of occurrences? So if you have that clear in your mind, it's going very easy to break all this problem into sub-problem and finally come up to the best and the efficient solution you will ever make. So try to practice this skill as well. Moving ahead, now let's talk about choosing the right data structure. So whenever you are solving some problem, if you have the concept or the knowledge of the data structure, like how it works, where you can use that, then it becomes very easy for you to choose the right data structure to solve your problem. Because in most of the time, just getting to know what the best data structure that fit into this problem is the solution to your question. And it only happens or you only start getting idea about this when you start practicing it again and again. So just do that. So once you have understand your problem, once you know which data structure you are going to use, now it's time to design your algorithm. And in this, what you have to do is you have to just start making your algorithm step by step according to the problem statement. And you can use different techniques like searching, sorting, dynamic programming, memoization, and so on to make your overall program effective, right? If you have a better practice of DSA, then it often happens that if you see any problem, you directly get to know which data structure would be most applicable here. So it only happens when you practice it as much as you can. Most of the students do this mistake that they directly start writing the code before actually knowing what they have to put in the code. Yeah, it happens. Even when I am a beginner, I usually do this. So before directly approaching to coding part, just try to have a pseudocode of that particular problem. Just try to add that after this you are going to this. After sorting this, you are going to use this particular data structure. After memoization, you have to convert it into DP or something. So if you start approaching the problem by doing or having a pseudocode, it's not necessary to do that on some pen or paper or something. You can obviously do that in your mind. But before directly jumping into coding thing, just start having a background of what its pseudocode look like. Because it's going to helpful for you to directly using that particular thing, you can directly code now. So it's become very easy. And by the interview point of view, it's very important because if you are in an interview, you have to firstly think about its pseudocode and then only you can easily convert your pseudocode into your coding. So the problem is solved. Okay, so now code implementation. So what do I mean by code implementation? Do I want to say that just write a code? No, I'm not. Here I mean to say that if you're writing your code, just try to make it readable. So if you are going in any company, right? Just don't use a variable name like X, Y, Z. It's not going to help you. If you are using that variable to do something, right? So just try to name it in that form only. Because when you are going to work in an industry, the readability of code is very important. And in an interview point of view, it's very important that your code is readable. So by looking at your code, a person which is not actually into your code can able to understand that what you have done, why you have used this for loop, why you have taken this variable, and so on. So it's a clean and clear practice which every one of you should start by now only, because it's not going to happen that in an interview you are going to just break it, like you are going to just make it or anything, right? So just start practicing it. So focus on clarity, readability, and efficiency of your code, and at the same time use meaningful variable names and proper indentation, because how your code looks is also matter a lot. After doing all this, testing and debugging your code is very important. What do I mean by testing? So here I mean that by testing, what you can do is you can just run your code on the example test cases or any test case by your assumption and try to get what the outcome would be and what you are actually getting. So in most of the coding side, you can actually input your test case and what is the actual answer, you can get it, and by your assumption what answer you are getting. So by comparing all these and by covering all the different test cases, base cases, you will able to get the best solution for your question. So use the debugging technique to identify and fix the issue if you face any. So learning the art of debugging is very important if you are a coder. For a coder, it often happens that you have to debug. Like you make some mistake, obviously everyone do some mistake. So practicing the art of debugging is very important because whenever you're going to work on higher companies, you have to debug that program. So start practicing it now, and it's actually a fun process. If you love that, then only. Otherwise, it's become very hectic. In most of the time, what happens is that just forget to add one bracket something. If, for instance, if you are using C++, so it may happen. But if you have the knowledge of how to debug your code, then it's a very powerful tool that you already know. And debugging is also important if you have written some very long program. So by debugging, you can able to get by running this particular thing, what output you are actually getting, and after that, what you can get in. So this actually helps you to understand the code. Not only coding the solution is important, but at the same time, also knowing about its time and space complexity is important, because it's important for your program point of view as well as for the interview point of view. So just analyze how much time and space your code is actually taking. Learn about this because it's very important. If you're preparing for your interviews, just start practicing this as much as you can. For every code that you write, try to analyze what's its space and time complexity and try to reduce it as much as you can. By doing that, you can able to optimize your code, and that's what required in an interview. From a brute force solution to an efficient solution, you have to just go by optimizing your code. And how do you doing that optimization? By reducing either the time, either the space, or both time and space complexities. As I talked this earlier, that optimization is very important, and you just do it by optimizing time, space, or both. But even small changes can lead to significant improvement, and you can see all this only if you start practicing and optimizing your current code as much as you can. If your code is accepted, like all the test cases has been passed, just go on the lead code discussion section and try to look how different peoples approach that particular similar problem and what are their space and time complexity, and learn about it, because that's help you to understand that how you can solve the same problem using so many different data structures. And by doing that, you can able to optimize and learn how to optimize code. If you're doing one problem a day, it's okay, at least you are doing something. So just be consistent with the practice of coding, and by this only you can able to get what the time and space complexity, how you can optimize your problem, what are the different data structure which you can use here in order to get the most optimum result. And as you all know that continuous practice enhance your skills the most. So just practice, practice and practice. This is very important, that learning from other is a very important tool which I adore the most, and I have used it for myself. Most of the time, if you discuss some problem with your peer or your friend, it often happens that whatever the approach you are thinking is very different from the approach your friend is thinking. And by combining both the concept, you can reach to some very optimized solution for the same problem. Or it may either happen that you are going to learn that this problem can be done using this data structure, and by using this data structure, it can be optimized up to a very higher level. So all these things only happen when you start learning from others. So just try to teach others whatever the thing you know, just try to teach them. Whatever the thing they know, just try to learn from them. And it's a very healthy competitive thing which can help you both and everyone to improve at the same pace. And at the same time, this also gives you a different perspective and alternative approach to think about the similar problem. So learn from others and also teach them. Stay persistent and patient. DSA problem solving is a journey of learning which is not going to end. And if you want to make your career in technology, then by each passing day, you have to upgrade yourself, you have to learn new skill, you have to have the knowledge about what are the different technologies that is being coming. Like before the AI thing, everyone is doing something, right? But AI has come now. Now we have to adapt it, and now we have to change our way of using or doing coding. Stay persistent and be patient. You will get wherever you want it to be. Now, let's talk about the conclusion of this video. So, what you have to do is, in order to master DSA, firstly try to understand the problem, and after only understanding the problem, just try to think about what are the different data structures which can be helpful for you to solve that problem. Later on, just optimize your code, know more about the time and space complexity of your code, and after that, optimize. And all the thing can be achieved only when you practice. And at the same time, try to look upon the different approaches that can be useful in order to solve that particular problem. Learn from others and take the help of others in order to get a different perspective of solving same problem. If you solve some problem by using your approach, try to get what are the different approach people are using in order to solve that. because that's help you to grow overall. So this is it. I hope that now you can know how to approach a DSA problem and become the master of solving any DSA problem. So this is it. Do try to practice and implement each and everything, and do let me know whether it's helping you or not in order to master the DSA journey. If you have any question or comment, do comment down. I'll happy to help. This is it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.